My house in Hertfordshire to watch some star dirt track riders of the future put in a bit of practice for the big races of tomorrow.
After D-Mob, many servicemen with a payoff in their pocket were hankering after the thrill and danger they had found in the war. This same desire in America saw the seeds of the Hells Angels sown. In Britain, the need was more carefully regulated.
These men are all amateurs. Most of them were dispatch riders and motorcyclists during the war, and ordinary peacetime jobs seem a bit slow, so they're going in for something where speed and nerve are needed. The spectators aren't the only ones who get a thrill from this kind of thing.
Speedway, a sport introduced into Britain from Australia in 1928, was one such way of forgetting the austere ration book Britain of the immediate post-war years.
The mechanics keep their eyes skinned. With speeds up to 70 miles an hour being reached, there's a pretty heavy strain on machines and riders, and the mechanics must be ready at a moment to put things right. The engines are tuned up and examined before every run. You can't make too sure when the lives of riders are at stake. The crowd waits eagerly for the next burst of speed, while Alec Jackson, the Wembley racing manager, gives the men a few words of instruction before they set off again to show what they can do. Maybe there are some international stars of the future among these keen amateurs. A spill, but the rider's all right. If it's thrills these chaps are after, they certainly get them.
Although Britain was a nation victorious, its industries faced terrible hardship after 1945, as a difficult transition was made back from wartime work to the fickle demands of the consumer.
Manpower, coal. Upon these two, the fate of industrial Britain depends. Our economy faces its most vital period since the Industrial Revolution. The year's most momentous Commons debate and the government's recently published economic survey have crystallized the issues at stake. Questioned on the government viewpoint, the staff at Cripps puts it this way.
We shall only get it right if we can produce much more than we did before the war. That's the only way we can get the things we need. Food, clothes, entertainment, a little less struggle to live, a decent home and warmth. We want color in our lives, a better education for the kids, bigger pensions for the old people, and all the rest. No doubt we're in a bit of a tough spot, and it'll take a year or two to get out. But we've done it before, and we can do it again.
This was a rallying cry to a nation whose industrial centres had been bombed, like here in Coventry, almost out of existence.
And stars of the show were the Royal Corps of Signals motorcycle aces.
Governments, both local and national, did what they could to raise the spirits of a war-weary nation who thought that the battle had already been fought.
Proceeds went to the Army Benevolent Fund. Only thing that wasn't benevolent was the weather. But even that didn't stop the stuntmen. A day for Coventry, with the payoff, 12 men on one bike.
Getting the know-why as well as the know-how of motorcycling is a class of novices at the Crystal Palace RACACU training school. It's a new course designed to make motorcycling safer not only for the riders, but for everyone else on the road.
The ration book years eventually receded into memory. More and more youngsters had cash to spend.
When they've graduated from the classroom to the track, expert riders who give their services free show the pupils saddle sense. The course lasts 12 weeks and finishes with the proficiency test that makes the official examination seem like child's play.
The establishment took it upon themselves to try and regulate what they imagined to be the impending carnage on the roads of Britain.
The beginning of her training is on the kindergarten track. From now on, she'll have to learn how to start smoothly, to keep her seat and her head in emergencies, and to negotiate blind bends, crossroads, roundabouts, and gradients. The The nursery slope is used to teach balance and control of the machine, while an instructor stays near to give advice and confidence. Courses like these are developments of the RACACU training scheme, which was begun 6 years ago and operated through the clubs. Only last year, Crystal Palace was chosen as one of 3 experimental centres and is today the largest civilian school of its kind in the world. Turning without tears is one of the most important lessons taught. While the pupil is signalling, he has only one hand to keep control of the machine. It's a case of one hand having to know what the other hand's doing. Out on the roads, the maneuver can be a matter of life or death. Now the instructors show the difference between braking with the rear brake only and with both brakes. The rear brake by itself takes considerably longer, and the demonstration makes the lesson clearer to the pupils. This is an example of the control which would prevent many accidents on Britain's roads. A credit to the instructors who put safety first.
More money was available for development, and Britain produced some interesting innovations like this Velocette.
Leaving its 40-year-old predecessor a mile behind, the two-wheel car has a two-stroke twin-cylinder engine, is shaft-driven and hand-started. Water-cooled and with engine noise cut to a moderate purr, a new British achievement takes the road.
The bigger, high-volume companies like BSA were also finding success. Within the walls of their Small Heath factory, they had become the largest manufacturer in the world. They sent bikes as far as Australia, Peru, and Cuba. The British industry had regained its pre-war dominance, and the triumphal spirit had returned.
Wonders on two wheels go on parade at Earl's Court. The second post-war motorcycle show, the biggest ever, rounds off Britain's most successful year in motorcycle sport. Close on track conquest all around the world come conquests of new markets. Bikes made in Britain are everywhere in demand. Machines like this Excelsior Talisman, with a new vertical twin two-stroke engine, will soon take the road home and overseas. For buyers with lots of cash, there's the Vincent HRD, most expensive bike on view, costing near £600. For ordinary folks, there's something special. A new lightweight job, the James, cheapest and most economical on show, priced just over £60. Though worldwide demand has pushed export orders up by 50%, motorbike production is at such a high pitch that home market orders are met within 3 months. And the two-wheeled wonders are not the only ones that lead the world. The three-wheeled Bond minicar has a mighty selling attraction. It does 100 miles to the gallon. With models like these, British manufacturers are sure to maintain the record of one of the nation's most successful industries.
Speed records hadn't been forgotten either.
Bob Berry, 40-year-old Manchester garage owner, is a motorcyclist with a difference. Not for him this sissy stuff of riding along on the part of the body nature provides for that purpose. Mr. Berry mounts his rough superior speedster the normal way, but he doesn't ride it like that. At Pendine Sands, Berry attacks the world motorcycle record riding horizontally. Hampered by a strong wind, Berry is forced to give up. His best time, 140 miles an hour, 30 less than the record. The motorcyclists, John Wooler and son Roland. Theirs is a design that is likely to revolutionize everything on two wheels. Simplicity itself to disconnect...
Of the many new developments, the Wooler deserves special mention as a motorcycle too advanced for its own good. This flat-four machine with its vertically mounted cylinders and unusual plunger suspension system could, the makers boasted, be dismantled with just 2 spanners. Sadly, the public was never able to test this claim, since the Wooler 4 never made it onto the market, despite a decade of development. Barreling along at speed, without a helmet was another area of safety that vexed the government, and one for which they had some advice in the form of a demonstration.